Should I be muted or talking or what's happening? It's live, great. Okay, so I'm assuming it's just me and H3 casting. Cool. Hey. That's why. I was wondering why that's talking. What's your prediction for this match then? I think my money's going to be on MLG. We ready? Okay, we're into draft. You with me, Helix?
Yep, I'm with you. I'm here.
Who's your prediction for this game then? Who do you think's gonna win?
To be honest, personally, I'd be rooting for MG Penta, just because I've played with a few players on the team, but we're just gonna see some play.
Under normal circumstances, I think I'd absolutely always vote for MLG to win in a tournament, but I'm very impressed with what I saw yesterday from the other team. They were phenomenal, especially Cinderella Man just really stepped up.
Yes, and we noticed that this time, BML, which was one of the key features in their wins, his mid lane was impressive. We noticed that he's not really playing today, which is kind of weird.
You've subbed out a good player. I'm assuming he didn't show up. Let's talk about the Lyra ban, though. Why do you think they've done that? Because I haven't seen Lyra played too much this update.
Well, personally, when I do play 5v5, which I don't really play much, but Lyra is one of those key features. She can be played as a CP mid lane, and she can also her just bulwark is just impressive. Her laning phase is really strong. So what teams want to do is they want to get her out of it, because an experienced Lyra could be very, very dangerous, especially at the laning phase. It's really hard to gank experienced Lyra.
This is quite interesting. They seem to have MLG have seemed to just take away all of the meta picks, but that leaves Cinderella Man's glaive open, which worries me because he was phenomenal on that glaive yesterday. They're going for a Kestrel pick early on, so they might be going for a kite-based comp. They definitely want to. They're definitely considering the Kestrel a key carry then for the composition. So it's interesting how this is going to develop. And they take the glaive away from the XL.
This is exactly what I was gonna say, because they were either gonna pick or ban the glaive. Now I think they've noticed that last game Cinderella Man has been a god on. He's destroyed every lane he's walked in. He's either gotten a kill or taken something that the laner must really need, like boots or flasks. So I think picking glaive is gonna be really good, but that also gives away either Barrier or Celeste, which are really strong in mid game. They deal a lot of damage. Such powerhouse.
You really have to respect the drafting from MLG side. They managed to pick up an amazing carry as well as take away one of the key picks from the other team, and they've gotten rid of the terrifying meta picks, which could really change the balance of the game. So amazing start from them. And I'm a bit iffy on the Lorelei pick from the XL. I'm not sure how that's going to go.
I've seen VGT play Lorelei, and I'm not gonna lie, I've always said, like in yesterday's stream, that Lorelei is one of those characters that are really punishing. If you do miss your stun or slow, or if you shield the wrong target, it can be really punishing, just missing that one ability. But VGT has always had that Lorelei down. He's always been there, he's always been really helpful with her. So I'm not really worried about Lorelei. I think it would be a great pick, and we've seen Adagio yesterday as well, and they picked Adagio here.
MLG's comp is terrifying. Managing to get I'm assuming it's going to be a weapon power Kestrel along with a glaive and a Samuel is incredible, because the front line that the glaive and lance is going to supply is going to make it almost impossible to get onto the really, really punishing carries that MLG have got themselves. Wondering how the XL are going to work around that, because their comp seems almost unbreakable already.
Yeah, I remember the good old Siege comp when it comes to 3v3, where you had Samuel Crystal Power lane, or jungle, sorry, and then you have Kestrel Weapon Power lane. And what you used to do is you used to siege these turrets really well to the point where they can't really do anything, and you just have that one great support that soaks up all the damage. Now, this team comp seems to be really based on CC because they have the glaive.
They're
And then
taking Varia as the last pick because that would really reinforce the idea of them being a protect the backline comp.
that would also give away the fact that they're extremely squishy, but we're just going to see what goes down here.
Well, to be fair, the side of VXL or Black Feather, that changes the comp a bit. The Black Feather is going to be hard to deal with since he definitely won't be a key target in team fights, but assuming he's... Oh no, it'll be Crystal Power. Be incredibly difficult for the Celeste to deal with him, so it'll be interesting how the Black Feather develops in this game.
I like this Black Feather pick, my friend. It looks like they're just trying to keep the enemy team guessing at this point. We don't really know their specific roles. I don't really know who's going to play weapon. So I think that's going to be a key feature to confusing the enemy team in the early.
The BF is a fantastic pick because it could either develop into a long-range sort of poke build with, I'm guessing, a double Shatter Glass and a Broken Myth, or it could develop into more dive-based and focus on dealing with that Celeste as early as possible. So it's a very interesting pick for the side of MLG. I'm going to be excited to see if they develop that normally with the Aftershock or if they try to do something interesting with a long-range build. Should we talk about VXL's comp for a while, so we've been kind of ignoring it?
I'm not really sure. It kind of depends on how the game goes. I'm just waiting for the early builds and to get the idea. These guys aren't going to build into their roles. They just seem like they're just going for their basic early items. Black Feather's doing his early defense, just to stay in lane with the sustain with the Book of Vigiles. Then you have the Samuel build with the battery just so he can poke a little bit longer. And also his passive kind of sustains him in lane, and then you have the basic.
Yeah, that Samuel's probably going to stay in lane for quite a while. Usually I don't see lanes pick a battery up unless they tend to stay in the lane for quite a long period of time. It's usually so they can get snowball going. It'll be interesting to see how the Samuel uses that. They're running a top lane Adagio by the looks of it. Can imagine that he'd be the lane pick here. So how do you think that's going to develop throughout the game?
Kozi's going for that Crystal Treant. That's a sneaky play. I'm not sure. I didn't really hear it properly. It was kind of
great early aggression, but VXL have immediately rotated down. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to get a kill for it, though.
And they do secure their very own Treant, which is really good for their side. They want to keep that, and we also saw that VLZ they've been phenomenal at farming. They've outfarmed every single team they've gone up against, and it's happening here again too. We can notice that there's a 100 gold difference, which if MLG can't catch up on, is going to be really difficult for them in the late game.
This is definitely going to be one of the closest matchups, I think. I haven't seen any teams which I really think could challenge MLG so far in the tournament, but it's very good to see them against someone who's also been relatively undefeated. So I think this will actually be a good challenge for MLG.
Yeah, I've been very excited to see this match, actually. I've really, all I wanted was to see this match. This is going to be a great match. We're going to learn a lot here today. These two teams are incredible when it comes to laning phases. Their players individually are very skilled. So it just comes down to who's the better at rotating. So we're just going to wait on that.
Untamed is looking for the gank up in top lane, but I think the Adagio is hanging just a bit too far back.
Mid lane Lance going in. MLG might get the first blood here. Oh, she just gets away with a slither of health. That was very close on MLG's side.
But Cinderella Man coming in on the crawl doesn't look... Oh, he might do. No, not quite. Very nearly getting a kill onto that Samuel, but he escapes with just a sliver of health. Looks like he's sticking around, actually, but he's going to get punished by the glaive.
Oh, there you go. That's the first blood for Cruel. Sorry.
I think slight lack of team communication there. We saw he went in for a long time. Two of their players were very low on health, but no one actually came to help the Cruel. I feel like it's a bit of lack of communication on the side of VXL.
I believe so. So we've seen yesterday, this is just, I'm asking your opinion here, buddy. We've seen yesterday that VLZ, what they've done is they've been pulling and pushing these top and bot lanes. Do you think that they're going to focus on lane? Because I've never really seen BGT focus mostly on, focus this long on mid lane. Do you think that we're going to see that top lane and bot lane aggression? Top lane jungle team fight?
Usually I'd say we could expect the glaive dropping there, just from a nice rotation from VXL. Usually I'd say that we could expect quite a lot of aggression in the side lanes from VXL, but considering they've started that Adagio with looks like they go for a Storm Crown here, I'm not sure they're actually going to be pushing too hard. They're genuinely quite passive within the side lanes. Heroes like Vox and Adagio aren't too quick with turret shredding, so I'm not sure they'll be able to push too easily on their own. The Vox could be quite a good split pushing tool though, depending on how they build it.
Well, it's going to be a weapon power box. We see him building into the Poison Shiv right here. But one thing we got to keep in mind is that Vox is now ahead. He's 2 CS ahead in farm, and he's ahead in experience as well. He's level 5 while Blackfeather's level 4. So he could use that advantage to poke out the Blackfeather. And this is the thing about Blackfeather early game. He can't really poke that much. He has to put himself in danger to actually deal damage and trade with the enemy.
Cinderella Man's just been caught out in the mid lane. He's trying to save himself, but not enough sustain. No team rotations again. I don't think they're really focusing on Cinderella Man at the moment. They definitely should be more careful when moving through the jungle. Unfortunate death there. Probably shouldn't have happened if they were communicating properly.
So what are your thoughts of the new meta? What do you think that will we see any use of it in the second match?
I'm assuming heroes like Kensei are going to be perma-bannable for the tournament. I don't think any of these players would be safe to let a Kensei through. I think they're all too consistently good to actually allow that to happen. Malene might come through. She's not overpowered anymore, but she is still very dominant. I'm not sure whether we'll be seeing much of her this tournament.
Yeah, she's more based on her basics now, so she has to put herself in danger. And she's extremely squishy, so she might be through. I agree with you there. Mid lane, they're just poking it out. Bot lane, nothing much.
I think people are starting to realise how to deal with the Malene pick, but the Malene is still a strong side lane. I would be interested to see if either of these teams could actually deal with it, but I'm not sure we will get to see any Malene picks this season. Slightly too powerful at the moment to be let through.
Minions are collapsing on the turret. Blade seems to be camping there, waiting for the right moment to engage.
It looks like Skill Hunters is actually going for the Aftershock build for his Black Feather, so I'm assuming he's going to be aiming to burst the Celeste and the Vox and any other squishy carries within the side of VXL.
We haven't seen that in 5v5 yet, have we? A triple siege comp. I've seen a Crystal Power Black Feather siege comp, but I haven't seen 3 people that are really good at taking down turrets. Okay, here we go. We're going for a Ghost Wing objective here. 3-man Ghost Wing objective.
MLG's comp is very scary at the moment. They've got 2 very difficult to break frontliners, being the Glaive and the Lance. And then they've got 3 heroes that, if they want to, can play as very good backliners. So I'm not sure how this is going to go. Skill Hunter's being caught out, managing to escape with a Rose of Fences. Amazing ability to dodge that ult from Cinderella Man. He must be gutted that miss. Meanwhile, the Samuel rotating down, but it looks like he's not going to push too hard.
Ooh, top lane has lost some significant amount of damage on that turret. This is going to cost them a lot later on if Blade decides to engage and Adagio dies.
The Kestrel up in top. Oh, it looks like Untamed has come. They want this top lane turret. I'm pretty sure they're going to get it. There's no way for the Adagio to defend against this in his own.
If Adagio stayed there, he would have died.
They've rotated upwards. There's 3 of them now in top, but it doesn't look like they're actually going to do much with the rotation. No, they can't make any of that work.
These 2 teams have been playing pretty passively. They just wait for their enemies to step out of position.
Looks like they're looking for the Vox at the moment, but with the Ghost Wing buff, I'm not sure they're going to get him. Skilled Hunters decides not to go in for the gank, which might have been the smart move.
Okay, top lane is Glaive versus
Looks like the
Cruel.
glaive might be getting caught out, and he manages to stay safe. Samuel keeping him safe behind the Malice and Verdicts. Oops, Cinderella Man might have just caught out the goal. Nope, he manages to stay safe. Maybe even turns it around for a kill. Nice try from Cinderella Man, but just not quite fast enough to get away from that glaive. It doesn't look like getting much more, though. Other characters are escaping.
Remember early game when Blackfeather used to struggle against the box? Now he seems to be really strong or really scared there for the box. You can see that massive damage bot lane coming out from
I
the
think
Blackfeather.
the reason that Skill Hunters has got such a great advantage against his Fox in the early game is just the aftershock. It's so easy for him to jump in, land a single shot for 15% of his health, and then just back off again. He doesn't have to stay in for very long to supply good damage, which I think is one of the great abilities of aftershock laners. They can do a lot of damage in a trade very quickly, and then get back out again.
This is why Moline is scary as well. This is also a reason, a key feature why Moline is really scary. And we've seen that Cozy has popped his flask, so now MG Penta does not have a fountain. Sorry if it was a fountain, but BLZ still have their fountain intact, so we're just gonna see how this plays out.
It looks like both guild teams have been quite passive at the moment, farming up. There doesn't seem to be any aggression, but it looks like VGT might be looking for something. No, she changes her mind, goes back to make sure the lane is safe. Might. No, Skill lets her pass. So there's a trade in mid lane.
Got deleted.
Oh, when did that happen? I think I missed a kill.
It was extremely quickly. It just happened. Glaive just collapsed on her, and then these two, Kestrel and Samuel, they just have this potential to blow up an enemy off lane side.
Oh, looks
now
like
their
the
only chance to win.
Side of MG are going for the Ghost Call. Let's see if they can interrupt it in any way. No good abilities actually for stealing any objectives, so it doesn't look like they'll have any way to interrupt it. There were very good ult from Celeste. I think took down the Lance, in fact, so they managed to salvage the situation, but losing Vainglory is looking very bad.
Aggressive. I mean, it was kind of a trade. It was a Lance for a goal.
The amazing poke from that Samuel nearly took down half of this less health. She's forced back behind turret. This is a really interesting comp for both sides.
Barely misses that impale. If that landed, it would have gone really wrong for Cinderella Man.
It looks like the Glaive is solo pushing up in top. I don't know if anyone's going to have time to go and stop him. Cinderella Man, I think, is looking to go up himself, which would be a really smart play. I think Cinderella Man's the only one on their side that could, in theory, 1v1 the Glaive, so probably a great call.
Look at the sieging potential in mid lane. They just wiped out the third. BLZ didn't really have a chance to just stop them. They just gave that up.
Yeah. MLG has got such an amazing siege comp. I can't imagine anyone being able to hold off a turret without most of the team being there. Both heroes, Samuel and Kestrel, are just almost unstoppable when it comes to taking down turrets, so...
Aggressive play by Glaive, bot lane, sorry.
Yeah, it looks like Samuel's caught out. I think the Glaive's out of tools. Yeah. Nice charm to go down, though. He managed to taunt before he died. Nearly getting a steal onto that crystal buff, but went the way of... I think the Samuel got it, so... It was a very good attempt, but sadly nothing came from that steal. And the Black Feather looks like he's going to get a turret in bot. I think the Vox is going to go and try and stop him, but he won't have time. Wave clear on that is far too fast. might be able to get revenge for it, or maybe Skill Hunters is just gonna try and take the 1v1. I think he thought better of it. It's like Untamed is looking for the gold oak. Changes his mind, just rotates for the weapon buff. Really impressed by the communication and rotations from MG. They've seemed very on point so far in the game. It looks like, thanks to that weapon buff, the Kestrel's going to pick up a kill over in top. Nope, she lets it go. Doesn't push too hard. A lot of self-control coming out from Niggle.
He still has ult. We might see that snipe. Not anymore, though. He just healed himself up. That would have been a very impressive play if she does snipe
that
him.
Turret going down so quickly. 200 damage a shot. He manages to get out unscathed. Looks like he's trying to go for a kill, but nah, missing that skill shot ends it for him. And a rotation from VXL stopping any interference. Looks like the Glaive's going to die for the rotation as well. Cinderella Man keeps looking for it, but I think he's lost it at that point. Meanwhile, looks like once again they're going for the Ghost Claw buff. I don't think they've got nothing to try and stop it.
Second Ghost Wing here, going to MG Penta once again.
That's really not VXL what VXL wants to see at this point in the game. It's very crucial for them to try and pick up something to help them snowball to get out of this amazing snipe from that Celeste. But no, it's very important they find something to try and get them out of this slight disadvantage at the moment. They need something they can use to spiral in advantage. Losing 2 Ghost Claws in a row is not a good start for that. Looks like Cinderella Man's going to go down, but no, he manages to just save himself for the Dead Man's Rush. Or so I thought. He went down.
Oh, that would have been great double kill with that ult. That was beautiful.
That was so close. Even on the back foot, when Vrain's Celeste has been fantastic. 2 amazing snipe kills already.
They're going to go for the big objective here. Lance spots it out.
It looks like they're going to get it. Untamed is far away. I'm not sure. They do know it's happening. Worried about this splash damage from that Samuel. He'll be able to take down... Wow.
Oh, they do steal it. Wow.
Amazing ult steal. That's really bad for the side of VSL. I'm not sure they're going to be able to come back from this. But it looks like they're all going to die for the steal. It will definitely be worth it. No, in fact, they managed to escape with their lives. Samuel even wants to go back in for another shot, make sure the turret stays up. Amazing rotations from Penta, and the Black Core pushes on into the base. It doesn't look like the Kestrel's going to attempt to poke there, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do much with the Black Claw. Just managing to get it, though, break through some of that turret. Definitely a great play from MG.
MG has a huge goal lead over VLZ now. If VLZ wants to come back from that, what they're going to have to do is basically do nothing, and that's the best way of coming back in Vainglory. They're going to have to try to have more discipline when it comes to team fights. They're going to have to try to avoid team fights for now. They just seem to be losing every significant team fight. It always has to be in the favor of MLG.
I agree here, actually. They haven't really been paying attention to power spikes. They were not respecting the Dragon's Eye that just came out of the Black Feather. They haven't been thinking about the carries. They should really try and wait until they have their own advantages before they go in for team fights at the moment. Can we talk about the Kestrel's build? Because Tornado Trigger as a third item with both a Sora Blade and a Spell Sword. What do you think of that? I haven't seen this build before, but it's very interesting.
Oh, and she builds it into a tyrant, just Monaco now. They do
Looks
have
like
a
Cinderella
huge
Man's
lead.
going to catch her out of position. That's the Kestrel down. There's nothing she can do about that. Great play from Cinderella Man to catch out Meagle.
Can actually go for the tower dive here and kill this Samuel if they do play it right, but against the Lance, you don't really want to risk it, especially in this case.
This is a great time for VXL to try and push forward a little bit. Now the really big hitter of the team, the Kestrel, has gone down, they can see if they can get some sort of objective. And it does look like they're going for the Ghost Claw. See if the Samuel can get a second miracle snipe in. It would be legendary if he could, but...
Oh, the
You got
glaive
it?
of this.
Glaive got it. I think
These guys
Glaive
are
might
amazing
start
at
being
last-hitting.
perma-bannable for both teams. Both Cinderella Man and Untamed have got terrifyingly good glaives. VXL turning it around though. And they've finally gotten the kill objective back to their side. Though they're still behind on gold thanks to the... You talk for a bit.
One thing that I wanted to point out about the Kestrel build is what you asked. Now, I've seen this build before, but I haven't necessarily seen a lot of players prioritize it. Now, I think that in 5v5 scenario, this is just coming from a person that loves playing 3v3. You just want that raw damage, especially with that spell sword. What that gives you some form of sustain on your energy, and at the same time, that cooldown, more targets, more shots should be given out. I think
It
it's an
does
okay
seem
build
so
overall.
far very effective. We just saw it take down a good amount of the Celeste health in one shot. Neagle shooting, but a bit too far away. Haven't really got the vision on the Ghost Claw, on the Black Claw. Sorry, didn't know exactly where it was. So could have been played better. They needed to really know where it was.
IQ play, they just pulled it away so that they couldn't steal that again. That was very beautiful. And even if the glaive wanted to afterburn into that, he couldn't steal it because he had to walk all the way through it. That would probably get him killed. That was really smart.
VXL have done an amazing job of turning this game around. Brilliant team fighting in that last couple of moments that in the game.
Will this be game? MLG looks like they're in big trouble here.
Kestrel's managing to bring back some damage. Looks like they're managing to hold them at bay, but no, an amazing Crucible saving Cinderella Man. Dead Man's Rush comes in. Kestrel had nothing she could do. Oblivion blocked off or missed. It looks like they're going to close out the game here, assuming Skills Hunter gets stunned down by the... Maybe the Samuel can get through enough damage. Amazing Rose offensive comes through, cuts down the team, but it's not enough. They've got
Not
too
enough.
much
It's gonna be
damage.
game for
That's
VLG. That was GG. That was a very good hit. If they didn't get that Black Claw, they couldn't have secured that. It would have been way better for MG Penta. It would have been an easy, clean game. But we see how they've used their tankiness just to body block these shots. And this is one thing about siege comps. You if you body block that, you don't really have much of the poke left. So that's
Not
what
a single
did. They
bit of
kinda used that.
defense coming through on Meagle. Maybe a reflex block could have saved her towards the end. It might have been nice to see that to keep the Kestrel alive, but I think this has been one of the closest matches of the game. I was not expecting VXL to pull it back, and definitely not in the way they did.
We just see the great potential of both teams and how they can play it really beautifully. We've seen that comeback from VLZ now. They have 1-0. Now, if they do win this one, this take that win. And if MG Penta does win this one, which I really hope, because I wanted to see that long game, If that happens, it's going to be great.
What do you think was the big turnaround point for VXL? What do you think let them back into that game?
I believe it's the simple fact that they just secured the objective. That 200 IQ play where they pulled that, Black Claw away. That was really
200
smart.
IQ was really correct. Yeah,
That was
I
really,
think that
really
was
smart. They repositioned the whole objective just so they would deny them that steal.
that was a great play from them, really showing some understanding of 5v5. I'm not sure all teams have at this point. Amazing play from both sides, though. I wasn't expecting MLG to lose that one. Anyway, are we waiting on another game, or what's the stream doing from here?
Yeah, we are going to be playing a best out of 3 match, so I think there was just some issues with the party, so they just restarted it, I believe.
All right, sounds good. Is the stream gonna take a break, or are we gonna keep just analyzing the match from here?
I believe we're going to just head right into the second match.
All right, how do you think the drafts are going to develop for each team? I don't think that either team are going to want to do the same as they did last time. But do you think they're going to try and keep the same strategies, or do you think they're going to try and change something up based off of that last match?
I think now they're just going to realize that Glaive has been a really key pick to these impressive ganks that just get other... They just destroy the lane. If he just dashes into the lane is gone. Like, it's just that simple afterburn that if he does land it, the laners that I think Glaive will be more of that one pick that is going to be banned way more than the others. We haven't seen a lot of Reza. We haven't seen much of Lyra. We've just seen a lot of Glaive. Like, every single time a team has a chance to pick Glaive, they do pick Glaive, and they do shine on that Glaive. This Glaive has been dominant this tournament.
The Reza ban, I think, was a bit questionable. Reza did get a buff last update, but he hasn't been anything like a Glaive or like a Molina's been. I don't think he's really perma-bannable at this point. So questionable ban. I wonder if they're going to rethink that from this point onwards.
Yeah, maximum damage can only be dealt by Reza if he does land his A, which can be easily body blocked. And since it was kind of a give and take situation where they did buff the range, but they kind of nerfed the hitbox since it used to be overpowered, and they did buff the movement speed of that ability. I think it's more of a give and take situation. It's not necessarily a full on buff, but he's still really strong if you can't control him.
That was one of my favorite changes of the update. That hitbox was ridiculous. Sometimes you'd think you just narrowly dodged it, but no, it hit you. There's the fire starter, there's the rush, and you're just bursting from half health. So I'm very glad they did fix that. As much as seeing a Reza buff is very painful, but I am glad they fixed the hitbox. I can say one thing though, now I've seen this, I can't wait to get into solo queue and play some Glaive. He's looking phenomenal this update, especially with players like Untamed and Cinderella Man playing them.
Waiting on the second game right here. It's been taking a while. I believe there's some issues going on. Or are these guys, yeah, they're just calling out their readies. We're just going to wait for these guys to come in. And I'm really interested in seeing this draft after that match. We're going to see if MG Penta is going to have to bring it in back from that 1-0. And if they do lose it, it's going to be game for MG Penta.
That would be very upsetting. I'm hoping this goes on for a while. Don't want to see it end so quickly.
Here we go again, right into the drafts one more time.
No,
No
substitutions here. It's like both teams are very happy with the current layout. I think they definitely should be. Both players looked phenomenal. Again with a Lyra ban though, they just do not want to see Lyra this update.
Alright, here goes a Moline ban once again. Could be a Kensu ban. There you go.
That's very questionable on the side of MG. Since they've got the first pick, they could have absolutely left Kensei open. Unless they've got something they really need first picked, I'm not sure that was the best ban. They could have banned away something else, and it's almost guaranteed that the Kensei ban will go to the side of VXL.
Just waiting here. Are they gonna? Oh, there you go, Reza again. It looks like the
same bans as yeah. Well, last time it was, I believe MG banned Kensei and Moline. This time it's a bit more spread out, and again, MG picking up that Kestrel. There's a lot of faith there in the Kestrel plays. So I'm assuming they're prioritizing it, because I believe that was their first pick last game as well.
Yes, it was, and we're gonna see an Ardent support this time. I haven't seen BGT
Well,
player, Arden. He's gonna be a
don't
barrier.
be too hasty. If you remember the VXL, we did actually see a weapon power Arden be very dominant. So we can't be too quick to judge that. I think there is a chance that the Arden will come out as a weapon power. It's definitely not weak, and it does make for an amazing Kestrel counter. So that would be a very interesting way for them to build this.
They gave away the glaive once again. Gonna be this is more of a hyper carry explosive match, I believe, since they have Samuel on one side and then you have Celeste, which is incredible at AoE, and then you have like Kestrel if she's weapon power. She's insane at weapon power, especially that her new buff that adds 110% weapon damage on her A ability when you overdrive. This match is gonna be interesting once again with the Adagio.
They seem to both be very happy with their strategies. Again, with the, I'm assuming, top lane Adagio. They have got the Arden now, so it's questionable, and maybe a Tony pick. So it looks like this is very much a protector Samuel comp, hiding him between some really strong captains and sub-captains. MLG running the same strategy as last time of having really long-range split pushes they can use to remove turrets quickly.
Now, one thing about this comp is that you always want to keep your enemy team guessing, especially when it comes to these picks. You don't want to give them that ban. You just want to kind of bait them into picking the wrong character so they can abuse that. And this is what I like about this draft. They have 3 potential supports. We've seen Adagio been played as a laner. I believe he's going to be a laner. But I'm not sure if it's a weapon power Arden or a weapon power. It looks like it's going to be a Gwen here.
They've gone ahead and signaled that they're going to run a top lane Rhyme, which is pretty interesting. Rhyme is an amazing pick here. Incredibly difficult for the Tony or any of them really to 1v1, so he's going to make quite a good counter pick to a lot of their draft. Otherwise, the strategies can be quite similar, but the Catherine pick that just came out is going to be amazing. If Cozy can land some really good blast tremors, especially if they manage to echo it, that can make a team fight go entirely to the side of MG. Almost impossible to win a team fight when you've been hit with a blast tremor. The silence time on that is ridiculous. So very interesting how they're going to play into that.
Especially when your team is really based on abilities like that. Samuel, Arden, Tony, and Adagio. All they have, the only person that can manage without abilities is Gwen, so she's going to be focused, I believe. We're just going to watch how this plays out.
Quite questionable. When you silence a Gwen, you lose the ability for her to shake off stuns and silences. So if she accidentally gets silenced with no ability to stop it, she's then very vulnerable. And being one of the hyper carries on the team, at least I'm assuming they're going to build her as a hyper carry, that could end very questionably for them.
Right, seems to be the same mid lane strategy coming from MG Penta, where they kind of stay in the mid lane, try to play passive in the mid lane, protect the carry mid lane game.
They have got a looks like Skull Hunter's possibly looked away for a moment. He didn't react to the attack from Cinderella Man. That lost him a bit of health early on. Let's talk about the matchup between the Rhyme and the what's her name, Gwen. That's a very interesting match because it can go either way depending on how it's played.
Yeah, if they do really focus on ganks here, I think Rhyme will have the advantage, but overall, I don't think that Glaive will be in the top lane 24/7, so I believe that Gwen will have the upper hand here till Rhyme gets to level 8, so to get that extended range on level 8. Other than that, I think it's going to be in the favor of Gwen for the beginning of the match, so she has to abuse that.
It looks like Meagle might be caught out here, but definitely strong enough to turn this one around. Missing 2 glimmer shots, though, very disappointingly for them. Could have been a kill, but I think they've lost it. Assuming he doesn't overextend, Glaive is here. No, I think he's going to be getting out safely this time. The Arden's coming to back him up. Interesting trade in the bot lane, but I think it ended quite equally.
Yeah, I believe they just disrespected the Adagio's damage early game. See, Adagio doesn't really need damage items early game. He just deals a lot of damage with his basic, with that extended range. And once he unlocks his buff, his V ability, he then can deal some hefty amount of damage. It's quite a lot for support early game.
Looks like the Tony's going to rotate, but a nice active camo keeps everyone down. Immediate rotation, but I'm not sure it will save them. No, Meagle manages to get out alive. Great play by Cozy, managing to keep him alive, and even turns it around. I'm not sure. Oh, maybe with a weapon buff? No, they leave it alone. But great play from the side of MG. Their communication has been outstanding this tournament. Interesting decision from Cozy. They already have a minion candy, which is kind of interesting since trying to take an early game turret is very difficult before the buff. I'm wondering if they're just planning to hold the minion candy or if they've got some sort of plan for it. But interesting decision early on.
You might want to build a huge wave and kind of push it into the turret, and later on they just, they get that early chip damage on the turret, which kind of is really bad for the teams, especially for the mid game, since a chip turret is really dangerous. It's like a little turret with it's not stable, so.
Can we talk about the Rhyme build for a second? He's got no crystal power at the moment, and he's actually got a Book of Eulogies and light armor, I think. So, interesting decision from him. I think if he just prioritized some shielding and got boots, he might have even been able to win against the Gwen, but he's chosen to play it safe for now, which is
I think
a good decision, I think.
Going for the sustain build for the long run, where he just sustains energy and HP with that Book of Vigilies. I think that's pretty smart, especially with that defense. This is going to keep him a bit longer. He knows he's not going to win these fights against Gwen early game, so he just wants to stay as long as possible to farm as much as he can. And get
the armor definitely just saved him. Two very good early game weapon power heroes caught him out of position, and he just manages to sneak back through. But he might be a little too far out of position now. Cinderella Man, a great flask, and I can't believe they both get out alive. Fantastic play from Skull. That nearly killed them both under turret.
Yeah, it would have been pretty tragic if they did die. It would have been a huge gold bonus for Rhyme, which he kind of needs at this point. Rhyme lane is really crucial. If you give him that little push, he becomes extremely difficult to kill, especially with that new buff they gave his A.
I can't imagine how gutted Skull Hunters must be. That was possibly the best route I've ever seen on a Rhyme, but it just quite wasn't enough. Penta's played it really smart, switched the turret aggro, they just managed to get out alive. But it does show the understanding. Most people, players in the game, aren't communicating well enough to know to switch turret aggro, to go back in and dive. They cut it really close, and impressed by MG's abilities there. Looks like Cinderella Man's roaming to mid lane, but no one's currently there. Caught out of position, but the tension bow build, giving him a lot of burst damage, keeping him safe. Maybe if he'd waited until he saw the Celeste, he might have even came out for kill.
Really interested on how this will go down during a team fight, since VLZ have a lot of CC coming out. So it's the Arden Gauntlets, and then you have the Adagio ulting. It's going to be double stuns either way. You either run into the Arden stun and then take the Adagio stun, or you just take the Adagio stun. So it's just going to be really, really crucial for them to team fight, especially when these two characters have their ult, and then Tony's ult with that massive CC chain. This is going to be really interesting. I just want to see the team fight in later games.
Adagio once again gone for the Storm Crown build. It's a very interesting, nearly got the Verse of Judgment, but just enough DPS on the side of MG to stop it before it hit.
I've seen Dersey Boy play Adagio every single time he gets the chance, and what he does is he slightly builds some form of crystal damage, and then he builds into a semi-support in a way just to keep the heals, I believe. But he's been building semi-aggressive. He doesn't really build fully aggressive. He doesn't go for the full crystal. We can see that he could be going here for a, it looks like a Shiver skill, I believe. I'm not sure, but He's just been building half damage, half support.
It looks like VGT might be caught out, but no. Smart enough just to attack that
Top
minion,
lane
get into
Rhyme ult.
safety.
Gwen is about to die. We see that, okay, they ulted, they kind of missed there. It would have been a great ult.
Maybe the Gwen could have made use of a skedaddle, stayed in the fight there, might have managed to get a kill. Cinderella Man, oh, that wasn't a great play. He has got that tension bow, so ridiculous burst, managing to turn the tables, but Untamed managing to rotate perfectly, turns the fight around and trades 2 for 1. Meanwhile, in bot lane, it looks like things are going quite equally as well. Slight advantage has gone to Miguel because he's got a single kill, but relatively even at the moment. Samuel caught out of position. No, doesn't quite look like the Celeste's got the damage to burst him down just yet, but it was a very good trade on his behalf.
Looks like top lane was being pressured. He was, Glaive was kind of winning against the Arden, but then when he decided to damage the turret, which is an okay amount of damage, it was like 3 basic. But when he did do that, he had to port back just because it was the turret aggro that focused on him, since he does have that Glaive.
I'm wondering what MLG are going to do with this. They know that there's, well, now 2 people up in top, but they don't seem to make any rotations based off that. They seem just to be playing it safe and farming up, which might be the right way to play at the moment, with quite a lot of hyper carries.
Looks like Tony's going to go for a engage here.
Oh, catching the Celeste out, but a boot's active will keep her alive. Little bit of damage onto the support, but not enough for her to back off, so should be fine. Amazing engage onto that Celeste.
Celeste
Just stays alive.
Arden grabs the weapon buff, so they don't really have that weapon buff. I thought the Catherine picked it up, but Arden ended up picking it up instead.
Lunina's Celeste has been outstanding this tournament. Who just died to that Kestrel snipe?
He just sniped her 2 lanes away. 1 lane away, sorry, my bad.
Who was that? That was the Samuel. Great snipe from Miguel. Very impressed. The longer this goes on, the more I'm being slightly shifted to the side of VXL. They've got some very great carry players in their team.
Bot lane turret seems to be pressured. Will it go down though? Yes, it will. And that is, I believe, the first third of the game. Or not, the second third. Sorry, my bad. Top third.
This must be a very scary moment for the side of MG. They've got 3 kills up on both the Glaive and on the Kestrel. 2 very scary heroes when they snowball.
Top lane just got collapsed on by the Glaive.
They're going to be... The Glaive is now 4 kills up. He's going to be very difficult to deal with, especially considering it started with a... Oh, he might be shut down here by Cinderella Man, but a really good afterburn over the wall, keeping him safe. Glaive is a terrifying hero in snowballs, especially when using what looks like a full burst build on his side, so very difficult for the lanes to stay safe. If they slightly miss position, Glaive...
Balin and Adagio finally were going for the engage, and Kestrel does go down to the Adagio. That was a great engage. I kind of feel bad that you didn't see that. Adagio finally turned the side. He doesn't have any damage items, but he can still deal good. That's the thing about Adagio. If you underestimate his damage potential, you'll end up dead. He has no... And he dealt a lot of damage too. That was insane. Top lane is going to team fight.
Cinderella Man breaks down to a small fight with Luna's Celeste. It very much looked like it was going to go to his side for a second, but managed to turn it around quite quickly. Yeah, one of the best things about Adagio is his gift of fire. Just, it can deal a lot of damage without there actually being much in the way of crystal or weapon items. He's a very scary hero, especially when you're quite squishy like a Kestrel is, so maybe a slight underestimation from Miguel. Definitely need to respect Adagio damage. It can be quite intimidating. Attempting to steal that crystal end, but didn't quite go their side. Looks like in mid lane, there's some pushing, but especially with the Gwen rotating down to steal that crystal end. Great communication from the side of VXL.
Looks
Looks
like
like they're getting out all right.
Like some pressure. It's gonna be 3v2 right here. I haven't seen a gauntlet yet.
That is interesting. It's been a while. There's a gauntlet. Miguel badly caught out. She's been very much shut down.
I think they're gonna lose their Arden here, or he does escape.
No, he manages just to dodge through those skill shots. It looks like he's going to stay in, try and make something happen for his team. Very good play.
3v4, will they be able to turn it around? That's a nice reflex block coming in from
that
Lily.
stun from the Gwen was amazing. Just went a little bit wide. There is no gauntlet now on the side of VXL, so they have to be slightly careful about this engage because the blast tremor is still up. That could be very scary if it lands. So they don't want a team fight at this point. They are still possibly looking for it, 4 people still in mid. Maybe MLG have just slightly mispositioned. They get collapsed on. Great Oblivion actually landing, but looks like the Verse of Judgment going to be scaring them back off. Interesting trade in mid. I was expecting that to fully go to the side of VXL, but it looks like MG managed to turn around and kill somewhere in that fight.
They're sieging that turret pretty well. Look at that damage. They just obliterated that turret.
Both teams have been so evenly matched so far. Kestrel going down. The Samuel. Oh, amazing stun to keep us safe. But it's a double kill regardless. It looks like the Samuel's going to start to get into advantage in mid-game, which could be very scary for the side of MLG.
Glaive is caught out here. It's going to be 3v2. It will stand, if Catherine does catch up, I don't believe she will.
Great block, amazing reflex block, stopping both the jump in from Tony and the Oblivion. Amazing block, but wasn't quite enough to save him.
Here we go, the big objective here. 5-man objective capture.
Do you know who got the final kill onto the Glaive? Because they did just shut him down, I think, from a 5-kill streak.
Not really sure. I didn't really look at the kill feed.
Who that goes to the side of the XL regardless. That was an amazing snipe coming out from Lolina. I'm realising I'm pronouncing her name different every time, but eventually I'll get it right.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Right, here you go. This is the big objective. They can take a few turrets from the mid lane. It's going to be really difficult for MG.
Nearly. The Samuel manages to chunk down a lot of that team. I think they're going to be forced to back out. Amazing ult from the... Christ,
Ooh,
such a messy
nice
team fight. It looks like they're going to be happy with a 1-for-1 and a turret. They all back off. Let's talk about the Samuel into the poke comp that MLG are trying to run. Because of the sort of very squishy long-range heroes, they really don't work well into a Samuel, but they seem confident they can pull it off regardless, which is interesting.
Yeah, well, I believe that's why the Catherine pick has been coming in. They just want to deny that Samuel that impressive burst that he has, especially with that AoE mouse and verdict on that drifting dog. He has a lot of damage, right? And I think that this Catherine here is great to body block all this damage. And once again, with siege characters, all you need is someone that can soak up the damage, and Catherine is just great for that. And if she does get close enough, then Samuel will be shut down with a stun or a silence. So think
The
Gavin
sound
is
of glimmer shots completely eclipsed your voice from my side of this. That's quite an annoying thing about Kestrel. I do wish they would turn down the sound on the glimmer shots. It can be the most just eclipsing sound sometimes.
I don't think you've noticed that Catherine misclicked her blast tremor on the wrong side of the fight. She doesn't have a blast tremor for the.
That's not a mistake the side of MLG can afford to make. That blast tremor is such a crucial team fighting tool. They really need them to land consistently.
Yeah, especially against a team that's really, really reliant on their abilities, aka Samuel. But
I'm not sure I agree with the way Cozy is playing the Catherine. I'd have really liked to see an Echo and an Item Silence come out just to make sure she can consistently land blast tremors. She seems to have focused more on just sort of basic captain build, focusing into the Crucible and the Aegis and Atlas Pendron, which is an interesting choice. I really would have preferred to see a more ult spam oriented build from her.
right, we're just seeing Arden pop his war treads. I'm not sure if that was done on purpose, since the team wasn't really aware that they were gonna pop it. It was either miscommunication. Well, there you go. They're gonna catch out the Kestrel here and shoot down. That's a free weapon buff and a Kestrel.
It looks like Cinderella Man might get the Celeste, but another missed blast tremor. Very much being misused. Cozy really needs to wait for big team fight opportunities to use it. Well, this has been happening in mid though. It looks like Untamed and Hunter's been shoving. It looks like Untamed's gonna be caught out. Hunter's making a really smart decision just to get into the bush and back off. That was a life for a turret, so really quite a good trade for the side of MG. And that's put them down onto the base turret, which is a very scary position for the side of VXL.
Although we've had a lot of plays coming in from VGL, VLC, sorry. Since we've seen a lot of plays now that they're kind of getting into the game, we still see MG Penta with that gold lead.
They're not doing too much to try and contest this Black Claw, but...
Gwen grabs that impressive, but she was almost dead. One ability and she would have died.
Looks like the Kestrel got really caught out there. 5 people just collapsed onto the side of MG. That's brutal
really bad for
MG. They just lost their hyper carry. There's a Black Claw pushing in. This could be catastrophic. I think VXL might pick up a win here. Missed Oblivion, it goes a little bit wide, but did manage to keep them safe for a couple more seconds. Some great glimmer shots have come out, but not quite enough. They've all got a lot of health. It doesn't look like the Kestrel's going to be getting anything here. This looks like game for VXL unless a miracle come out. Great Celeste ultimate, but that's game, I think. Actually, amazing. Kestrel Snipe manages to take one down. There is the Storm Crown on that Adagio. They had to focus him down before they turn back onto the Black Claw. Black Claw's pushing in, just managing to save that. I really wish the Arden would have stayed in that fight. They definitely could have ended it out there. Amazing defense from MG. But now they are an armory down, which is going to put them in a terrible position.
Looking at top lane, there's a little wave building up. Yeah, they're going to clear it out. They spotted it on map. I just wanted to point out that they could have some sneaky play with that top lane wave. But Rem's is going to wipe that wave out.
What I was going to say before is what I would really like to see from the side of MG is just a scout cam placement somewhere towards the top lane base turret and then just rushing it at some point and trying to burst an armory to give them a lot more lane pressure to sort of limit VLG. Sadly, I don't think that's possible now that they've lost an armory. They have to be very careful with minion pushes. But it would... Rhyme is currently alone, pushing up in the top lane, but looks like a 4v5 team fight's going to break out. This is catastrophic. Gwen bursting down the Celeste. One more falls. I think they're going to try and push this here.
Rhyme is backdooring in a way. Well, I don't think it's going to be important. I believe Rhyme should teleport back since this is really crucial.
Should have
5-man engage on that crystal.
They're going to end it here. I don't think there's anything to stop it. Really bad communication. They try and pull off a split push. Amazing decision making from the side of VXL. They go, I don't care, split push all you want. We're going to take an objective. We're going to push in the game. Caught them out of position, and very abrupt ending to this match. Amazing play from both sides. Scoreboard.
Let's just look at the build for a little bit. I believe that if Catherine did have an Echo, it would have gone way differently, especially that they could have kept that Tony a little bit off of the Celeste, which could have been a key feature for their damage have amps, but
I think for once the team fighting on the side of MLG could have needed some improvement, and they should have been a bit more creative with the support, getting an Echo and item silence in, trying to guarantee that 5 seconds of silence would have made such difference in team fighting, but they didn't really go for it. I think some interesting decisions from both sides, but when you look at the scoreboard, it is very even. Both teams put up an amazing fight.
Yeah, once again, that was really nice. That was a really beautiful game. I like that. That was really challenging. I thought that there was going to be a 1-for-1 situation. They were just going to have like a one tiebreaker, but I don't think that's going to happen here. It was GG well played by BLZ.
Yeah, there was an Echo actually on the side of that Arden. They really did realise how crucial the gauntlet was going to be to team fights. We closed out that now. So I'm assuming that was the last game of this matchup.
I believe so.
I've been kicked from the party. So is the stream going to resume for matches later, or was that the only match scheduled for today? All right, cool. Stream closed off now?